I have known darkness, and I have known loneliness. I have known these two things so intimately that the black holes that fill our night sky have looked down upon me in envy, wondering, how could it be? How could this child understand the deepest depths of me? I have known darkness, and I have been enveloped in loneliness, but I wasn't always captive to the dark or held by the worst of solitude, because growing up, my family and I, we were so close. Like me and my brother, we can have an entire conversation and not say a single word. And I can remember how much this would annoy my mother when she was fussing at us and attempting to instill some form of discipline. Morgan and Jonathan, can you tell me why my two brilliant children, with their two brilliant minds, would come up with the worst idea in the entirety of human history? And my brother would glance at me, his eyes shouting SOS. Your mom is furious. And I would look back at him in ocular Morse code. I see a dog, but be cool, be chill. I know. Can you just explain to me what it is I need to do as your parent? Because I don't understand why you thought it was a good idea to give your cousin laxative pills and tell the fool boy they were for sinus congestion. But we didn't snitch. Me and my brother, we were tight. And my mom who has on more than one occasion told any number of people, I will go to hell and to jail for my children. You better not make me take my earrings off, because if I do, someone's gonna be going 6 feet under, and it ain't gonna be me, but it damn sure might be you. That was my family. The people I thought I could always trust, who would hold me and lift me up, support me no matter what. But there's this thing that happens from about age 12 to 16. This sort of fucked up thing called puberty. And it came roaring at me with all the adolescent force it could bring to bear, and I was completely unprepared. Because I have never felt as out of place as the time I stood standing in the mirror, running my eyes over my body and my face, feeling so utterly betrayed. Because I had always been able to pretend that female assigned at birth, this was not my logical, biological end, and yet here I was. And when I was born, the doctor said to my mother, congratulations, you've got a little girl. And though she did her best to raise me as one, at some point I would have to come to my mother and say, Ma, the doctors got it wrong. You actually have another son. And I can remember sitting downstairs watching TV, and my brother was playing with his action figures at my feet when the host on the TV show appeared and said, today, we're going to talk to the families of children who say they were born in the wrong bodies. Transgender children. And yo, I sat up so straight, you would have thought somebody had jammed a steel rod up my backside, because yo, this was it. This was me. And my mom poked her head out of the kitchen. What are y'all in there watching? Nothing, Mom, we good. Don't worry about it. We cool. But she came out anyway. Oh, no. Y'all can't be watching this. It'll get you all messed up in the head and get you confused, make you think something's wrong with you. And besides, we don't have people like this in our family. My brother laughed. You're right, Mom. Those kids are weird. And then the darkness entered me, wrapped itself around my heart, strangled my lungs so that I could barely breathe, because I had just discovered that my family only loved me conditionally. But at least I had a word, transgender. I could search and figure it out, and that's just what I did. except the personal anecdotes, the articles, the newspapers, they all said the same things to me. They said, you are transgender and you will die alone. You are transgender and you will lose your home. You are transgender and no one will ever love you. And if there was a straw that broke the camel's back, then this was mine. The day I went online and discovered that if someone dated me, fell in love, found out I was trans, and then killed me, then the policemen, the lawyers, the judges, they would all say it was okay because trans panic is apparently a legitimate defense, and in the eyes of the law, I'm not really human anyway. And so I went up into my room, made sure I was all alone, turned off my phone, and made sure to remember that it was down the road, not across the street. And soon I was hand in hand and with death, the slow inhale and exhale of breath. And through that darkness, I heard the voice of a male I did not recognize who said, Morgan is not going to make it. Morgan is going to die. And following that announcement, I heard the voice of my mother, who came through and tore that darkness asunder, nearly dropped me through my spiritual knees, screaming out, dear God, you cannot take my Morgan. You cannot take my baby. And I heard the voices of all those who had come before me, and my ancestors whispered, oh, so gently, we did not drown in oceans, unceremonious burials at sea, spend our lives in chains and swing dying from trees so that at the first moment of difficulty you could flee. Lord knows we did not do all of that, my child. We did not. And so when that darkness came for me, when it rolled over me like the waves following the quake, reverberated throughout my soul as thunder shakes the mountainside. When I had so nearly succumbed, my mother came for me like the rising of the sun, and she was the way, the truth, and the light, and it was good. And I knew then that I was not alone as my mother called me back home, because she would rather have me as I was than see me dead and gone. And so I stand here now, remembering all the things I learned back then. That life, it may not always be fair, but in that moment, at that time, basking in the warmth of that glorious light, I opened my eyes and I chose life. Thanks. So I don't want to send anybody home on that downer of a note. So I have one more story to share with you guys. It's actually the first story I ever told. So it's one of my favorites, and I hope you enjoy it. I can remember the first time that I saw this woman. And if beauty could be quantified and contained, placed within one person, then she had it all. And I didn't see her for the first time strolling towards me across a grassy knoll while sunlight filtered through the trees, highlighting all the accents of her hair. No. I saw this woman at the gym. And she was grunting, lifting weights, rivulets of sweat rolling down her face into her eyes so that she had to blink them furiously to see, but she was the finest person that I had ever seen. But I didn't approach her there. Not then, because she wasn't at the gym for me. Maybe she was there because she had some ideal body that she wanted to attain, or she wanted to enjoy an extra margarita or two with her friends at night at the bar, and me, not wanting to continue to codify the patriarchy or take advantage of my male privilege, I left her alone. But then one day, she came up to me and she said, "Hey, can you spot me?" Can I spot you? Baby girl, yeah, I can spot you. Is what I should have said. But what I said instead was, no problem, bro. Bro. But I must have been the best spotter this side of creation, because shortly afterwards, when we were finished and I was heading toward the exit door, she came running up to me and went, hey, do you want to grab a drink? With you? Woman, you the type of person I want to bring home and introduce to my mama. Yes, I want to grab a drink with you. Bro? But before I continue, now with the glaring reality of hindsight staring me so blindly in the face, the reason, the one true reason, the cross my heart and hope to die, bury me down by the seashore reason that I did not ask this woman out was because what if I did? And she said, yes. And then she began to like me, and I started to like her. And a few days, a few weeks, maybe a month or so down the road, she would come up to me full of frustrated, aching need and go, I like you. And I know you like me. So why are we fucking? And I would have to lift her deft hands away from my belt buckle, remove her nimble fingers from my zip and go, baby, wait 1 second, hold on, baby, please, I don't got no dick, boo. And I had never had that conversation with a woman before. And what if I did it wrong? Or what if I waited too long? Or what if I began to fall in love? And when she found out, what if she left? But you know, real talk in the moment, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just excited. I know I broke about 1 million laws on the way to that bar. Click of the ticket, what is that? I didn't put my seatbelt on, and I know I was texting my best friend just to let him know what had happened. And when we got to the bar, the cacophony of sounds, the press of bodies, but I got us a table, though. The two of us, oh, we had a table. And we sat down, and we began to talk. And she was into me. I could tell she was into me. She was leaning forward, playing with her hair, running her fingers down the delicate flesh of her neck. But here is the thing. I am a man of words. Words have been my salvation as long as I can remember the light at the end of a tunnel I never thought that I could reach. Words lifted me from the bottom to the mountaintop so that I could see, and I just needed to know if words could make her soul sing too. And so I had one question, just one thing I needed her to answer. And so I asked, what are your favorite books? She hesitated, and I got excited, because a reader, a true reader, they have more than one favorite book. They have more than one favorite poem. And here was this woman in front of me who had so many novellas, so many poems that she couldn't pick just one. And she opened her mouth and she said to me, boy, you are so silly. I don't read. You don't what? Pause. And just like that, her siren song became a banshee's wail, and I found myself thrown into the sea of confusion, shipwrecked, capsized, and tossed onto the rocky shore of disillusionment, because how could it be? How could a woman as singularly incredibly as she sit here in my face and say, I don't read? And I'm not sure if it was the fact that I was no longer as attracted or as enamored, but I just told her, all right, cool. I'm trans. As if my being transgender, something of which I am not ashamed, and her refusing to read, something of which she should be incredibly ashamed, as if they were equal. But then she said, well, what does that mean? What does it mean? It means that I was female assigned at birth, and now I take testosterone, and here I am. So, You don't have a penis? No. Well, what happened to it? What happened to it? As if I got on a bus one day and set it down and forgot to pick it up on my way out, or I was sent marching off to war and fell victim to a penile IED. Woman, you really don't read. Do you? But she actually didn't have a problem with my being trans, and at the end of the day, I was the one who called it quits, because she and I, the two of us, we didn't really go together. We didn't fit, but even still, if I could find her, if I could find the woman that my friends to this day call bookless, I would thank her. Because if it weren't for her, I would still believe that my relationships would end or fail to begin because of the physicality of my body, and that just isn't true. My relationships have suffered the same fate that most relationships do. Maybe I'm not into you, or you're not into me, or perhaps the chemistry isn't initially what we thought what it at first seemed to be, or maybe we were just two people clinging to one another on an island of loneliness until we built our raft and found our way back to the continent of humanity, and then we parted ways. And all of these things, they are far more than okay. And so, wherever you are, bookless, wherever you happen to be, thank you. Because now I have the courage to approach a woman and say, hello, my name is Morgan, and I love to read.